Do not touch that screen. You only have exactly 1 day left before it is entirely too late. I am speaking directly to you right now because the window is closing faster than you realize. If you scroll away from me today, you will spend the next year wishing you had stayed. The chance sitting in front of you will vanish completely. You will be left with the exact same weight you are carrying right now. My faithful one, I see exactly what you are doing in the quiet of your room. You are standing perfectly still, and you are calling it patience. You tell yourself that the timing is just not right yet. But I know the truth about the heaviness in your chest. You are not waiting for a better moment at all. You are simply terrified of making the wrong choice. The fear is paralyzing you. I am telling you what is moving toward you right now, and I am telling you tonight. I have watched this exact hesitation destroy beautiful things before they could even begin. I am shutting the door on your waiting room tomorrow morning. This is not a threat to frighten you. This is a rescue. Type amen if you are ready. Let me show you a pattern you have lived so many times. You see a small door open in your life. You look at it, and you immediately find a perfectly logical reason to walk past it. You tell your friends that you are waiting for the big sign. You say you are preserving your energy for the right season, but your hands are empty. Your days feel repetitive. You are exhausted by the very waiting you claim to choose. The waiting is draining your spirit. You are not being wise. You are not being careful with your heart. The thing you call caution is actually a wall you built to keep yourself from being seen. Here is the mechanism at work inside your mind. The mind does not resist the work itself. The mind strongly resists exposure. If you step out and try, you might be judged. People might see you fail. So your mind creates a fog and calls it tomorrow. I am naming this so you can catch it in the act. This is the protective delay. It is a bodyguard who never learned that the war ended. And that is only the very first layer of what has been holding you back. The root goes much deeper. You have been fighting the wrong enemy for years. Do not go anywhere. I have not yet told you what is waiting on the other side of the door I am closing tomorrow. If you leave now, you will walk into tomorrow completely blind. Stay here. Listen to the rest of this. Your breakthrough depends on the next few minutes. I know there is something you do almost every single night. You pick up your phone when the house is entirely quiet. You open it and scroll through the screens without looking for anything in particular. Then you close it and set it down. You do this because the silence in your room feels too loud. You are looking for a distraction from the question echoing inside your own head. That question has been keeping you awake. You wonder if your best days have already slipped quietly through your fingers. You wonder if your hesitation has cost you the only chance you had. I hear the thoughts you refuse to speak out loud. You carry a deep shame about the years you spent waiting. You feel like you have wasted the precious time I gave you. The regret is heavy. I am telling you plainly that you are wrong about your own history. I have never once been late to you. Not on the night you counted the hours. Not on the morning you gave up counting entirely. What I start in a person, I always finish. There is no exception to that rule, and you are not going to be the first one. Your timeline is safe in my hands. I do not forget my promises. You have been so hard on yourself. You judge your own progress by looking at people who are walking on an entirely different road. That is a cruel thing to do to your own soul. You see them running ahead, and you assume you have failed. But they are not carrying the invisible weight you have been assigned to carry. They do not know the battles you fight in secret. They do not see the scars. I was there when you tried to step forward last year. I saw the quiet courage it took just to stand up. I also saw the moment your courage broke and you retreated back into the familiar hiding place. I did not judge you for retreating. I sat down right there in the hiding place with you. I have been sitting there ever since. I never leave the ones who are afraid. But the season for hiding has run its full course. The grace period for your hesitation expires in exactly 1 day. I am not rushing you because I am impatient. I am moving you because the ground underneath your hiding place is about to give way. You cannot stay here anymore. You must hear the rest of this to know where to step next. I hear the objection you would never say aloud. It does not feel like an objection to you at all. It feels like plain honesty. You are thinking that this sudden timeline was meant for someone better. You believe it is for someone whose hands are cleaner, and you think it belongs to someone whose faith held strong through the years when yours did not. You remember the season you walked away. You remember the exact reason you stayed away for so long. And you quietly assume, I have kept the exact same record of your failures, but I am not going to tell you that your memory is wrong. You know what you carry in your heart. I know it far more completely than you ever could. I know the parts you have entirely forgotten. I also know the parts you have never once forgiven yourself for. But you have completely misread who this message is for, because you believe my rescue only belongs to the people who are fully ready. It has always belonged to the ones willing to see that they are not ready. That brutal honesty moving through your chest right now is not a wall between us. It is the open door. The ones who arrive absolutely certain of their own worth bring me nothing I can work with, but you have brought me the raw truth about yourself instead. Do you understand how rare that truly is? Do you understand how much courage is sitting in your room right now? I did not come looking for the finished. I came looking for you. I know exactly which one you are. Your feelings of unworthiness are a heavy cloak you have worn for decades. You put it on because it felt deeply safe to lower your own expectations, and if you expect nothing, you cannot be disappointed when nothing arrives. But that cloak was never assigned to you. You picked it up from the ground where someone else dropped it. It is time to leave it behind. I am not asking you to suddenly feel perfect. I am only asking you to stop arguing with my choice. When I say you have one day left to step out, I am speaking directly to the broken parts of you. The perfect parts do not need a deadline. The fearful parts need a firm push to finally move. You are worthy of this push. You are worthy of the new day. You do not need to clean yourself up before you accept this turning point. Water does not demand that you wash before you enter the river. The entering is the washing. I am offering you a completely clean slate starting tomorrow morning. But you must be willing to drop the heavy story you tell yourself about your past. Your past is finished. It has no power here. I am asking you to accept that I see your true value. The world may have overlooked you entirely. Your own family may have failed to see the unique gifts you carry. But my vision is never clouded by those fragile human mistakes. I see the quiet faithfulness you have practiced in the dark. I see the tears you wiped away before anyone could notice. Nothing went unseen. You have been evaluating your life using a completely broken scale. You measure your massive failures and count them twice, while you look at your victories and quickly dismiss them as nothing but luck. I am taking that broken scale out of your hands right now. You will no longer weigh yourself. You will simply let yourself be carried. You are safe here. You have always been safe. Now let me show you how this fear has disguised itself in your daily life. You have been turning down small opportunities for years. Someone offers you a wonderful chance, and you quietly back away because you tell yourself and everyone else that it is simply not the right time yet. You say you are waiting for a much clearer sign before you move. You wait for perfection. You are incredibly patient when you explain this delay to others. But you are not actually being patient at all. You are hiding. I know this sounds incredibly harsh, but I absolutely must tell you the hard truth before the window closes forever. You are rejecting the small doors because you are terrified of what happens if you walk through and fail. You use timing as a convenient shield. Here is the hidden mechanism you have not been able to see. The mind strongly resists being exposed to harsh judgment, so you avoid the steps that would finally show the world what you are truly made of. So your mind builds a thick fog and calls it tomorrow. I am naming this so you can fight it. This is the protective delay. It is a brilliant defense system that you built when you were much younger. It protected you perfectly when you had no other shield, but you do not need it anymore because you are no longer that helpless child. The protective delay is now keeping you locked in a prison of your own making. I am tearing that prison down tomorrow. You have exactly one day to agree with my demolition plan. The waiting is over. So here is the one small step you must take before this day ends. Do not promise me a massive transformation. Do not plan a giant leap that you will abandon by next week, because I only want you to do one small, imperfect thing today. Send the message you have been drafting and deleting. Make the call. Write the first page terribly on purpose. Do it badly. A small and imperfect action is the only thing that destroys the protective delay. The fog cannot survive a forward motion. Once you finally take that imperfect step, the deadline loses its terrifying power, and it quickly becomes a doorway instead of a dangerous cliff. Take the step today. Let the old fears stay behind you. Walk into the light. There is a deeply painful pattern in your life that you have repeated many times. You reach a point where everything is finally going well, and the heavy work is almost completely finished. The new relationship feels incredibly safe. You are standing right on the edge of something beautiful, and then something strange happens inside your heart. You reach out and quietly knock the cup over. You suddenly stop answering important messages for an entire week. You draft a beautiful response to an amazing offer, but you delete it entirely before hitting send. You let the golden opportunity die in your hands. Then you sit alone in the dark room, and you feel intensely angry at your own self. The cycle feels endless. You are actively dismantling your own hard work before it can succeed. You have a very harsh explanation for this destructive behavior. You tell yourself that you are simply afraid of failing. You say that you completely lack the discipline to finish things properly, and you think you are simply prone to giving up when things get tough. My beloved child, you must erase those cruel words from your vocabulary. You are not afraid of failure. You have lived through massive failures before. You survived every single one of them. You know exactly how to rebuild your life from the scattered ashes. You are intimately familiar with the bitter feeling of starting over from scratch, and failure does not terrify you because failure is a room you already know how to navigate. You are actually terrified of what happens if the building finally stands. You are terrified of success. Let me show you exactly where this strange fear was born. Long ago, you watched someone you loved deeply struggle and stay small. You watched a parent settle for a life they never actually wanted, and they set their own bright dreams down and never picked them up again. A young child watching that sadness learns a silent rule very quickly. The unwritten rule says you are not allowed to rise higher than the people who raised you. To rise higher feels like an awful betrayal to your soul. To succeed feels like you are violently accusing them of their own painful failures. So you built a heavy roof over your head out of pure love. You have spent decades calling that heavy roof fear. I am naming it today so you can hear it clearly. This is the loyalty ceiling. It is not cowardice at all. It is a misguided devotion aimed in the completely wrong direction. You limit your own deep joy to make other people feel comfortable around you. But your smallness does not serve them. It only keeps you trapped in a familiar dark cage. You have outgrown the cage. The door is already open. Look back at the ruins you have felt so deeply ashamed of. You did not destroy those good things out of weakness. You were desperately trying to protect someone else. And every single time you stopped just short of the finish line, you were honoring an old silent agreement. You were saying you would never outgrow the people you love most. That is not a severe defect in your character. That is a deeply loyal heart that was never told the entire truth. Here is the plain truth you need to hear today. Your staying small has never once made another person larger, and the invisible ceiling has cost you everything while giving them absolutely nothing in return. The sacrifice was completely empty. You have been paying a massive debt that you never actually owed to anyone. You carry a false guilt for shining. I never asked you to diminish your own beautiful light to make someone else feel comfortable in the shadows. Because I created you to shine brightly and walk completely free. The old hiding place is now permanently closed. You must break this cycle today. I do not want you to analyze it for another month. I want you to say the name of the person you have been staying small for. Say it quietly to me right now in your room. Then you must speak this powerful declaration out loud and tell yourself that your rising takes absolutely nothing away from them. Say it again until your chest truly believes it. My success does not steal their light. Then go back to the exact work you recently abandoned. Take one honest step above that invisible ceiling. Send the exact message you deleted, because you do not need to finish the whole staircase today. A ceiling that is breached even once loses its absolute authority over your life. Remember the heavy ceiling I just named for you. I want you to see what life looks like on the other side of it. Come with me into the season ahead. It is a very ordinary morning and the sun is bright. You wake up and look at the project you finally finished, and your chest is completely calm. You do not feel the old sudden urge to tear it apart. You do not feel guilty for achieving something good. The anger that used to follow your success is completely gone. You drink your coffee and you simply let the victory exist. You finally allow yourself to hold the blessing without dropping it, and the people around you are warmed by your light. You are finally free to walk in the exact purpose I gave you. Notice what is completely missing from that beautiful morning. You do not wake up with a tight jaw. You do not immediately scan the room for something to fix. The heavy expectation of sudden failure is simply gone. And when you sit at your table in the quiet sunlight, you finally realize that you are completely allowed to be happy and at peace. That peaceful version of you is not a distant fantasy. She is intensely real. He is already breathing. That person is standing on the exact other side of the invisible ceiling you have been holding up. The distance between you and that bright morning is not a matter of time. It is a matter of permission. And true permission is never handed to you by the people you are trying to protect, because it is something you must carefully grant to your own soul. You grant it by making one small and successful choice. So make the choice today. Do not tear down the good thing you just built. Let the victory stand tall in the sunlight. Let yourself enjoy the beautiful harvest you worked so hard to plant. The ceiling vanishes the moment you stop defending it. Now we must address another room in your life that keeps causing you immense pain. You have met this exact person before. They have a different name and they live in a completely different city. The beginning of the story always feels incredibly wonderful and full of brilliant light. But after a few short months, you recognize the exact same weather in the room, and the bright illusion shatters to reveal the painful reality you have always known. The cold silence returns. You start measuring your words. You find yourself reading their face at the door before you even dare to speak. You are constantly managing their volatile moods just to keep the evening peaceful, and you sit alone in your car wondering why this identical situation keeps finding you. You feel absolutely exhausted by the repetition. You feel like you are walking in endless circles. You have a very harsh explanation for this painful cycle. You tell yourself that you are simply a terrible judge of human character. You believe there must be a broken sign written on your forehead that only toxic people can read, and you constantly punish yourself for being so foolish. You think you are deeply flawed. Beloved child, none of those things are true at ALL. I will not let you speak that way about yourself. You are actually a wonderful judge of character in every other area of your life, and you constantly give excellent advice to your closest friends when they are struggling. You see clearly when others are being mistreated. Nothing about your beautiful soul is permanently marked. You are not attracting bad things because you are weak. You are carrying a wound that is not yet healed. Here is what is really happening beneath the surface. An unhealed wound does not just sit quietly and wait for time to pass. It actively goes looking for a familiar room where the painful story can finally end differently. So your wounded heart walks you directly toward whatever feels deeply familiar. It does this because familiar is exactly where the wound learned how to survive. I am naming this mechanism right now so it loses its dark power over you. This is the familiar door. It stands wide open in every single season of your life, and it always looks exactly like a safe way back home. The feeling you called certainty when you first met them was not certainty at all, because that flood in your chest was just your history recognizing its own handwriting. Familiarity always disguises itself as destiny when you are looking for rest. Look back at the painful choices you have been deeply ashamed of. You were not being foolish or stupid when you walked through those doors. You were desperately trying to finish a broken story. Every time you chose that familiar pain, you were deeply hoping that this time the cold person would finally turn warm and give you peace. You hoped your deep love would be enough to change the ending. That is not weakness. That is a beautiful heart trying to rescue a small child that nobody else came for. I saw everything you were reaching for in those dark rooms. You were never actually reaching for that toxic person. You were reaching for the safe and happy ending you were denied a long time ago. Your intentions were entirely pure, and you simply used the wrong map because it was the exact map you were handed so many years ago. You do not have to carry that heavy shame for another minute. I am giving you a new way to read the map today. The next time you stand in front of a new doorway and your chest floods with that intense feeling, I want you to stop completely. Do not walk through the door immediately. Ask yourself one vital question before you take another step. Is this feeling recognition or is it rightness? They do not feel the same when you actually slow down enough to tell them apart. Recognition arrives very fast and loud, and it always feels like a sudden, desperate relief. Rightness arrives quietly, and it feels like a wide room where you can easily breathe, giving your soul the peace it has always desperately craved. You do not need to make any massive decisions today. You only need to learn the profound difference between those two distinct feelings. Learn to recognize the sudden rush of the old familiar pain. The familiar door completely loses its terrifying power the moment you see it clearly. It loses its grip when you finally realize it is just a wooden door and not a safe home, and you are no longer the helpless person who has to endure it. You have the power to simply walk away. You do not have to walk through that door just because it is open. You can stand on the porch and simply turn around. The door loses its magnetic pull the second you name what it actually is. You are finally free to choose a completely different house, and this is how the bitter cycle ends for good. I know exactly what is rising in your mind right now. You are listening to me and you are thinking that you have heard all this before. You are thinking that you have already tried so hard to change. You knelt down and made a promise to yourself. You kept that beautiful promise for 11 days and you broke it on the 12th. And then the year ended exactly where it began. You are telling me the absolute truth. I will not argue with your own painful history. You lived through every single hour of it, and I was right there for every hour of it with you. But you must hear the crucial difference today. What you tried to change before was simply your outer behavior. You only reached for the branch. You woke up earlier, and you prayed much longer. You built a strict discipline and you carried it until your human strength finally gave out, and human strength always gives out eventually. That is exactly what your physical strength is meant to do. It was never designed to hold a thing this heavy for this long. I am not asking you to reach for the branch again. I am speaking about the deep root underneath it all. You did not fail your own soul. You worked faithfully for years on the entirely wrong layer. There is a massive difference between a person who refuses to run and a person who is running with a sharp stone in his shoe. Sit down with me for a while. Let me show you the exact stone that has been hurting you. You have spent your entire life trying to be the strong one for absolutely everyone around you. You are the one who knows every single important date and every single medical appointment. Nobody in your house knows what it truly costs to be the one who always knows. You smile first when things get incredibly difficult. You have been smiling first for so long that the smile arrives before you even decide to make it. But that smile is not happiness at all. It is the half second you buy yourself to figure out how to survive the next painful moment. You are exhausted in a way that sleep does not fix. You wake up tired and you go to sleep tired. You feel like you are walking through thick mud every single day, and you have been incredibly harsh with yourself about this deep fatigue. You look in the mirror and you demand more energy from a body that is completely drained. You tell yourself to just push through the pain like you always do. But pushing through the pain is exactly what got you into this dark room. You are treating your soul like a simple machine that just needs more fuel. Your soul is not a machine. It is a living thing that is currently suffocating under a mountain of invisible expectations. You are carrying a crushing weight. I want you to look very closely at the things you are carrying today. You are holding on to the severe worries of your grown children. You are carrying the heavy anger of your closest friends. You are deeply stressed about situations that you have absolutely no control over. You treat every crisis in the world as if it belongs directly to you. This is exactly why you cannot breathe properly. You are wearing a heavy winter coat that does not belong to you, and you are wondering why you cannot run fast. You have confused pure love with carrying another person's deep pain. True love does not mean destroying your own peace just to keep someone else comfortable. You are standing right on the edge of a massive breakthrough. The beautiful door is standing wide open right in front of you, but you cannot walk through it while you are carrying all those heavy bags. They will never fit through the narrow frame. You have to drop them. You are terrified to drop them because you think the people you love will completely fall apart without you. You think you are the only glue holding their fragile world together. That is a heavy lie. It is a lie that feeds your pride while it slowly destroys your spirit. I am the one holding them. You are not. You must hear this clearly before we go any further. I am preparing to hand you the exact beautiful assignment you were created for. It is wonderful, and it is entirely yours. But my hands cannot give you a new gift, while your hands are completely full of someone else's daily chaos. You must make room for it. The next important step requires completely empty hands. It requires a brave heart that is willing to let other people carry their own natural consequences. This is the hardest emotional work you will ever do. It is much harder than simply doing everything for everyone. But it is the only way you survive this coming season. Are you ready to hear the final truth about this brutal exhaustion? Are you ready to see the exact mechanism that has been draining your bright life away? Stay with me. We are walking directly into the center of the storm right now. The heavy lifting is about to begin. You have been waiting for the perfect moment to step out. You want everything to be perfectly organized before you move. But perfection is just another beautiful disguise for fear, and it keeps you trapped in a cycle of endless preparation. You are trying to control every possible outcome. You polish the outside so no one can criticize you. But the clock is ticking down right now, and the safe room you built is getting incredibly small. I am stripping away your comfortable excuses tonight. You tell yourself that you just need a little more time to get ready. You do not need more time. You need to let go of the heavy illusion of control, because the illusion is costing you your entire future. Tomorrow morning, the door to your familiar hiding place is closing permanently. You will not be allowed to retreat back into the shadows. The light is calling your name. Let me describe exactly how you feel when you stand in front of a new opportunity. Your stomach ties itself into a tight knot. You immediately start calculating how to make everyone else happy with your choice, and you completely ignore what your own soul is telling you. You exhaust yourself trying to be flawless before you even open the door. And by the time you reach the handle, your arms are completely numb. You are too tired to walk through. You have a very cruel word for this crippling exhaustion. You call yourself weak. You tell yourself that you simply lack the capacity to handle great things. You look at other people walking through their doors and you wonder why you are so broken. My beloved child, you are not broken at all. You are not weak, and you have never been failing. You are incredibly strong. Here is the hard truth you have never been told. True exhaustion does not come from the weight you were actually assigned to carry. It comes entirely from the weight you were never given. You are carrying the heavy opinions of people who do not even know your heart, and you are treating their careless words like absolute law. You are holding their unhealed trauma and their bitter judgments. You carry it all like a dutiful servant. You carry another person's dark mood the way a man carries water in his bare arms. It completely soaks you. It spills the entire way, and you never actually arrive. I am going to name this terrible burden right now so you can never unsee it. This is the borrowed load. It has your fingerprints all over it, but it was never yours to hold. It is crushing your beautiful spirit. Look back at the years you have brutally called your failing years. You were never failing in those dark seasons. You were hauling. Every single morning you woke up and picked up heavy bags that belonged to other people, and then you stood in harsh judgment over yourself for walking so slowly. A loaded soul that keeps walking is not lazy. That soul is intensely faithful. I saw your quiet faithfulness the entire time. I saw you carrying their heavy criticism and their impossible demands. You thought you had to be absolutely perfect to earn your place in the room, but perfection was just the heavy tax you paid to feel completely safe. You do not have to pay that brutal tax anymore. The debt is entirely canceled. The heavy bags must be dropped today. Hear me where you make your deepest decisions. You call your hesitation wisdom, but it is a protective delay hiding your fear. I am closing the door to your hiding place tomorrow, not to punish you, but to expose you to my furious grace. You will step out today and receive the assignment you have been running from. The argument ends right here, not softens. It completely ends. I am revoking every single permission you have to delay your life. You are not late, and you are not less. You are not the exception to my faithfulness. Lift your head right now. Say it out loud with me in the quiet of your room. I am not late. Say it again slowly enough that some deep part of you has to agree with it, because the long season of hiding is permanently over. So today I ask something incredibly small of you. Do not promise me a massive transformation. Do exactly one thing before this day ends. Ask yourself one simple question before you pick any heavy thing up today. Did I hand you this? And when the answer is no, you must set it down. Set it down, without a grand speech and without any pathetic apology. Putting down the borrowed load is pure obedience. Begin with one heavy thing today. Let the unfair expectations of other people fall completely to the ground. You cannot walk through the door of tomorrow while holding the heavy baggage of yesterday. I am giving you the strength to open your hands. Let the false responsibilities slip right through your fingers. You are finally free to walk into the bright morning. You have hesitated long enough. The safe room served its purpose when you were deeply wounded, but you are completely healed now. The sun is rising, and the open field is waiting for your specific touch. Step forward before the day is completely gone. I am walking right beside you. You have carried enough. The false responsibilities are permanently lifted from your shoulders today. Step into the light without the heavy bags you dragged for so many long and bitter years. You are entirely free from the crushing weight of their expectations. Now there is one final door we must open. There is a deep prayer you have completely stopped praying. You have never told anyone that you stopped. You still say the polite words at night before you sleep. But you took your heavy weight off those words somewhere along the hard way. The prayers go up from you like a man greeting a stranger. You expect absolutely nothing to come back. And there is a painful moment right at the end of it when you catch yourself. You think I have heard this exact plea so many times. You believe I am completely tired of your voice. You sit in the dark and you feel the crushing weight of the absolute silence, while you watch other people receiving their miracles quickly and celebrating their sudden victories. You wonder why your own hands are entirely empty. The silence feels like a heavy blanket pressing down on your chest. You wonder if you did something terrible to deserve this quiet room. You have drawn a very cruel conclusion from my quietness. You concluded that I said no to you. On the hardest nights, you concluded something far worse than a simple no. You decided that I was not listening at all. You thought the words went up into a completely empty ceiling. Beloved child, I want to answer that terrible fear directly. I have heard every single one of your whispered words. Not one of those lonely nights was unwitnessed, and my silence was never my word for no. I will never tell you that you asked wrongly. You did not ask wrongly. There was no better hour and no truer posture for you to take. No perfect arrangement of human words would have opened what a plain word could not. Anyone who tells you the deep flaw was in your prayer technique is lying to you. They are telling you something I never once said. You did not lack faith. Here is the hidden truth you have not been told. Silence and refusal are not the exact same thing. The fragile human heart cannot easily tell them apart, so it fills the terrifying silence with the worst word it knows. But you must listen to what actually happens in a waiting season. Between the desperate asking and the final arriving, there is a massive work being done to prepare your soul for the heavy blessing. The work is not on the water. The work is entirely on the vessel. A sudden gift that comes before your hands are ready is not a mercy. It is a terrible loss wrapped in a beautiful package. I have watched premature blessings completely break the people who begged for them. Some of what you desperately asked for is being made ready. Some of it is being made much better than the small thing you named. And some of it, I love you far too much to hand you right now. I name this quiet season today. This is the unfinished yes. It is a profound protection. Now look back over the quiet years you have bitterly called abandoned. You were never being ignored in those painful years. You were being carefully formed in them. Ask yourself honestly what you can carry right now that you could not have carried before that waiting began. None of that deep strength came from the instantly answered prayers. All of it came from the long silence you mistakenly thought was a harsh rejection. The long waiting was never empty of my presence. You simply could not see me working in the dark. I was working on the one vital thing you never even thought to look at. I was working on you. You were being forged in a very quiet fire. The endurance you hold today was built in the exact room where you thought you were completely alone. You did not waste your time. You grew deep roots. So I will not ask you to force yourself back into that painful prayer tonight. I ask you to change exactly one word instead. Where you have been desperately saying, "Why have you not?" I want you to ask me, "What are you doing?" Say it once out loud before you finally go to sleep. Then take a simple piece of paper and write down one beautiful thing that is different in you. Write down one thing that has grown in your soul since the very first day you began asking. Only one thing is required. That written page is your solid evidence. On the difficult nights when the silence gets extremely loud again, you will not have to guess. You will not have to take my word for it. You will have your own undeniable handwriting to prove that you were moving forward when you thought you were completely stuck in the mud. Hear this final warning before you go. There is a massive cost to spending another year living inside the same old arrangement. It is not a cost anyone will send you an invoice for. It is paid quietly in the beautiful things you slowly stop expecting. You lose your hope. I am standing between you and that outcome right now, and I am not moving. But you have to stay where my hand can reach you. Do not close this yet. If you choose to ignore this warning today, I will not punish you. I do not operate through petty revenge. I do not use human anger. But I must tell you exactly what another year of hiding will cost your beautiful soul. You will wake up exactly 365 days from now with the same exhaustion. Your tired bones will ache. The safe room you built will slowly shrink. It will shrink until you can barely breathe inside it. You will watch other people walk boldly into their profound purpose while you sit quietly on the sidelines. That is the true cost of another year of hesitation. It costs you your vibrant life. I am standing directly in your path right now to prevent that quiet tragedy, and I am holding up my hand to stop the endless cycle of fear. You do not have to live inside that small cage for one more minute. The cage was unlocked the entire time. You only needed someone to show you how to push the heavy door open. I am pushing it open for you right now, but you must be the one to finally step through it. I cannot take the step for you. You will watch the doors close, one by one if you delay. You will feel the bitter sting of missed opportunities. And the worst part is that you will know you chose the safe route. Safety is an illusion that slowly suffocates your divine calling. I do not want that tragic ending for you. You were created for massive impact. Before we reach the very end of this message, you need to understand something vital about your own mind. Your mind will try to convince you that tomorrow is a much better day to start. It will whisper that you need more rest. Do not listen to that familiar noise. The noise is simply the old fear trying to maintain its dark grip on your heart. You must break the grip today. The enemy wants you to stay perfectly still. The enemy knows that a moving target is incredibly hard to defeat, so he whispers lies about your readiness. He tells you that you are too broken to make a real difference. I am commanding you to silence that wicked voice right now. Right now, you are just someone who heard a nice message. In exactly 5 minutes, you can become someone who actually stepped into a new life. Those are two completely different people. The second person is much harder to defeat when the morning comes. This is not a magic trick. It is not a religious ritual at all. It is simply how your faithful heart has always worked best when you finally decide to trust me. You must act. You have carried the heavy burdens of other people for far too long. It is time to drop them permanently. I am asking you to make a solid commitment to your own soul today. I am not asking you to make a huge financial donation. I have never once asked you to buy your freedom with money. Freedom is not for sale here. I am asking you to claim your freedom with a bold public action. An action taken in the light destroys the power of the dark. When you speak your decision out loud, you strip the enemy of his favorite weapon against you. The enemy thrives in your silent hesitation. The loud commanding is finally finished. Come a little closer to me now. Let the heavy words settle deeply in your spirit. I want to speak to you the way a loving father speaks at the end of a very long and exhausting day. You have fought an incredibly hard battle this year. You have walked through dark valleys that absolutely no one else saw. You survived every single one of them. You are completely safe now. I told you earlier that there was one final assignment I kept completely hidden from you. I kept it back until you were ready to carry it properly. You are ready to carry it now. Here is the final piece of the beautiful puzzle. The person standing in your bright future is not coming to rescue you from your pain. They are coming because of who you will have become by the time they finally arrive. You are the actual rescue. You are the one who breaks the bitter generational cycle for everyone who comes after you. That is the profound reason I kept the door closed for so long. I was not denying you a needed blessing. I was forging you into a brilliant weapon. The waiting season was never a harsh punishment. It was a rigorous training ground for your beautiful spirit. You are going to rebuild the ancient ruins of your family line. You are going to plant beautiful gardens in places that were completely barren. The people around you will watch your life, and they will wonder how you survived the fire. You will simply point to the sky and smile. You will carry a profound peace that makes no logical sense to the outside world. Because you stayed when leaving was much easier, I am moving you completely out of the waiting room. I am bringing you directly into the wide open field. You will no longer measure your own progress by looking at other people's broken clocks. You will no longer apologize for the length of your difficult season. You will step boldly through the door I open tomorrow morning. My beloved child, that is exactly what I am doing for you. I am immensely proud of the quiet strength you have shown. You did not give up when the road became incredibly steep. You kept putting one foot in front of the other, even when you could not see the destination. I saw every single silent tear you cried in the dark. I counted every moment of your profound faithfulness. Your beautiful heart is entirely secure in my strong hands. I am placing a fresh mantle of authority on your shoulders tonight. You will speak with a new clarity that cuts through the thickest confusion. When you walk into a room, the atmosphere will shift because you carry my brilliant light inside you. Do not shrink back from this massive responsibility. You are entirely equipped for the journey ahead. We are at the end of our time together today. What happens next is entirely up to you. I have placed the golden keys right in your open hands. I want you to share this specific message with one person who desperately needs to hear it. Send it to the first name that just flashed across your mind. Tell them exactly why you thought of them today. Your simple obedience might be the sudden miracle they have been praying for. Now go, do not run. Walk out of this place like someone who finally knows they belong here. I stepped through tomorrow. Type those exact words below and let heaven know you stayed to the very end. I read every single word you write. Go.